So through the course of the previous video, you saw this character's creation, and that was starting from a basic primitive, which was a cylinder, adding on half a sphere for her chest, and then just building on top of that to get to the character that we're at now. And obviously that was time-lapsed, so it was speeded up quite a lot, but as you can appreciate, it took a while to create her, so the time-lapse just got the whole process across to you, so you can go back and refer to it as much as you want. So this is where the character is now, and I've done a little bit more work on her since the last video, just tidying up the model a little bit, tidying up the topology, fixing a few areas and adding a few little tweaks here and there. If I zoom in, we can see we have eyes, we have eyebrows, we also have eyelashes, but on top of this, what I've also done is created a tongue and two sets of teeth, the upper and lower teeth. Now, because this is going to be a virtual actress, and in the next issue we are going to cover rigging her, creating blend shapes, so she's going to need to move around and emote with a full set of facial expressions. We're going to see the inside of her mouth. If I bring back the body, we go inside the head. Looks a bit weird, but we've got our eyes, we've got the tongue, the teeth, and we've also got this section here, which is just an extruded area, sort of a pocket, which is going to be inside the mouth. So when she opens her mouth, you don't just see the back of her head, you actually see geometry inside there. Because she's going to animate as well, we also need to make sure there's enough geometry in the actual mesh so that it will deform correctly. So as we can see here, we have these edge loops going around the mouth here, we have a few going around the actual lips, and these are here following actual muscle lines from human anatomy. So as the face deforms, we will get natural crease lines up here. So if I just quickly move this up like so, you see we're starting to get a crease here. Push it in. Yes, it doesn't look too natural at the moment because it needs a bit more tweaking and a bit more work, but you get the general idea. Following natural muscle lines on your face means that when it deforms, it's going to deform in a natural, realistic way. But we'll cover that a lot more in the next tutorial. We've also added a couple of extra edge loops around the eye sockets here, and that's so when she blinks there's enough geometry there to go over the eye. And obviously there's areas which deform, like her shoulders, her elbows, her knees, even her fingers. We need to have those extra edge loops in there so that it will deform correctly. So this is where we are now. So what are we going to do next? We have the actual character modelled. So what do we need to model next? Well, let's have a look at creating her hair. Now we could just build her hair straight into this, just model it, and then it's done. But with this project we need to take a step back and just think about a different approach, and that is because she's going to be a virtual actress, she could have numerous hairstyles. So we could have her hair slicked back, we could have her hair with a centre parting, a side parting, we could have a fringe. There's lots of possibilities. She could even have spiky hair. So we need to think of a way to create the hair quickly, but still have that nice effect of sort of a stylised hairstyle. Now if you look at any hair, particularly CG hair, you can strip it right back, and you can sort of, if you break it down, you can imagine it being built up of sections, and you can see this made on sort of computer game art, where they take polygon strips, layer them up, and that creates a hairstyle. So we can take a similar approach here. So what we can do is just create one piece of hair, and then we can duplicate that, deform it to create our different hairstyles. So what I've done is I've already created a strip. Now I'm not going to go through the process of creating it. Let's just bring that up. Here it is up here. As you can see, it's quite a basic model, just created from a cube, extruded. And as a matter of personal taste, I've added this crease down the middle here, and that's just to give it a little bit more detail. You notice I've deleted the bottom and the end is open. Now if you imagine this as one strip of hair, it'll start off solid, and then we can use an alpha map down this end to get that sort of feathered hair type end to it. So once we've got one model here, we can duplicate that and repeat it around the head to create numerous styles. So if I hide this, and let's just have a look at a couple of hairstyles that I've already set up. So here's one, and it's made entirely from that one strip, just duplicated and deformed, and in this case half was created and then it was mirrored to create the other half. Now it's important at this stage to state that we need to make sure the topology for each hair strand remains the same, so don't add in any extra edge loops, don't delete any polygons for now. You can always edit it further when we go into Maya next, after we've UV'd and textured the hair, but we need to keep the topology exactly the same, because as you can imagine, going in and applying UVs to each of these strands individually can take a while. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually create UV one strand, and then using Maya's transfer attributes tool, because the topology is the same between these, we can copy the UVs between them. So there's no point in going in and worrying about having to UV each separately. So that's why I say we need to make sure the topology remains the same. So let's have a look at a couple of other styles. So we have hair with a fringe, we have a simple swept back look, which if we go back to the fringe, similar sort of hairstyle. Once we've got that one, we can just move the front back slightly, add in a fringe. We have hair parted down the centre, and obviously these will all need adjusting to get the most out of the geometry once we've UV'd and textured it and seen it lit and rendered. But these are just examples, just quickly thrown together. Let's have a look. You could even combine some like so. So we have half swept back, half coming over like so. We could even have a hairstyle like this and add in a prop of a bandana. So the hair's combed back and is collected underneath this bandana like so. But as you can see, it's all just using that one strip. If I bring it back, which is here, just that one strip, duplicated, the topology remains the same. The only areas that I've changed the topology are these little strands at the sides here, but we can quickly UV those separately. They're just going to be projected from the side. That's no big deal to UV those. But I hope you can see, just by using that one strand, how we can quickly just create some variety in the hairstyles. So when it comes to our virtual actress, we can create lots of different hairstyles quickly to suit whatever role or illustration you're shooting for. See, we could use something similar here, maybe have a ponytail coming up round the back there. So that's just a brief description on setting up and creating your hair. What we'll do next is we will probably move on from this and start to generate some clothing and just discuss briefly how to approach different styles of clothing. And then once we've got all our main models created and ready, we can take those into Maya and then start to UV everything and get it ready for texturing.